Alright, so let's take a look at composite functions. So there'll be a couple videos more than likely for this because we're going to break it up some, but let's start off and just take a look at the idea of what does it mean to compose two functions. And so the notation is slightly different in a composition is that you notice that it's not a dot, it's not a closed dot like multiplication, it's an open dot, and that stands for composition. Alright, so when you see that composition function, we're going to have that open dot instead. So we've got four formulas here, or four foundation pieces that we have to think about as different ways that we can combine or compose. So this guy literally is saying that we have our f function, and we're going to take our g function and compose it within our f. Or translated, what I like to say is I'm going to stick my g in the f. I'm going to put the g inside the f function. On the next one, that would be my g function, but I'm going to put my f function inside. And we'll look at what this means in just a minute. These are just the foundation formulas that we need. Here, you're going to stick your f function inside of your f function. You're going to plug your f into your f. And on the last one, we're going to put our g inside of our g. Now, to kind of wrap your head around what I'm saying here, okay, so this is kind of a side thought here. So this is a quick little side thought. That if we go back to function notation, and you think about this, like if I said that f of x was equal to 3x plus 2, and I asked you to find f of 4, then that means that everywhere that there's an x, I'm going to plug in 4. So this becomes 3 times 4, let me close that in so it's not a composition, plus 2. So in this case here, I replace the x with whatever was right here, and that's kind of the same idea. When I'm composing this, I'm going to take the g function and plug it into the f function wherever the x was. And replace the x with the g. And that's kind of weird because that means you're putting an expression inside of an expression. So we start off here in a more straightforward example. Remember, this is a side thought. This is a side thought of what we're going to do here. So when we start this guy off, we're going to compose f with g, but we're going to do it over a numerical value. So it's like we're composing, but we're composing with one inside the other. So our notation would be is that we're going to have f composed of g, but inside that g, we're going to put a 2. Alright, so let's kind of take this along the way. So that means we have f composed of g. Well, our g is 9x. But replacing the x, we're going to put a 2. So what we've done there is we've taken the function g of x, which is right here. Alright, let me put that in red. We've taken the g of x. We took the x, which in this case here, our x, we were going to replace it with a 2, and we plugged that 2 in. So now we have f of 18, and just like we would an original function, if we wanted to find f of 18, you replace the 18, the x with the 18, so this becomes 6 times 18, plus 2. We pull out our calculator, and I don't have mine pulled up on the computer screen, so I'll just do it right here on my hand. So 6 times 18 plus 2, that's going to be 110. So that means that in this particular case, if I take f composed of g of 2, my answer will be 110. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute here and let's see if this makes sense plugging into this guy. And I'll readdress this in a different approach later on. So on this guy, we start off here and we're going to do g, and I'll try to keep some colors here, of f, and we're going to plug in this time a 3 inside there. Alright, so that means we have g composed of f. Well, f in this case is 6 times my x, which is 3, wrong color, my x, which is 3, plus 2. So remember, what I just did right there is I just took this 3 and plugged it into my f right there. So that's where the 3 went in. So 6 times 3 plus 2. We simplify what's inside those brackets. So this becomes g of 18 plus 2 is 20. And we take that 20 now and we plug it into our g function. So this becomes 9 times 20. So I'm replacing the x with 20. And that's equal to 180. Alright, so that would be my g composed of f at 3, or evaluated at 3. So we're going to stop right there on that particular video, and I'll pick up and we'll take a look at these guys on this side, but that's when we're going to evaluate with a numerical value, and so you're going to see a couple of those on your homework. Alright, so we'll cut this video off and we'll come back and look at what happens when we do it algebraically.